what about you, Coach Dan Campbell? You're one game in as the HC, first HC, regular full-time HC gig for you. What about that experience for you and what you can do potentially differently, or what you saw on week one that okay, week two I'm going to do this? I mean, you got anything?
There was a couple of things that came up in that first game where I know that I need to be much better communicating, being much more clear about what I'm looking for and what I want to do, just over the headsets with my staff. And there was that would be the first thing that I would think about from that game, that I wrote down, and I told the staff that, listen, I'm going to do a much better job of, and trying to, for example, instead of trying to give the whole narrative of what I want, it's just simple one-word names that mean something that we've done before in camp, and just so it's quick, it's clean, it's easy, it's getting communicated to our players from the assistants, and just little things like that.
Like a specific play call or something like that? Is that what you're
referring to?
No,
not so much that as it is even at the end of the game. Just how do we handle that, knowing that you feel like you're in this position to where you have to throw to the end zone, but you have to throw the end zone from the 25, but yet you've got 30-something seconds. That's not the case. You can do whatever you want to do because you got time to clock it. We already have a term for that. So just little things like when you talk through those things, you don't need to give the whole description,
Right.
Just give the name for it, and which we have, and I think sometimes things get lost in translation, and I can just be much more clear and blunt about what I want,
How about talking to refs? How was that for you?
Actually, it went great. It really did.
All right.
I thought the communication was great.
All right.
And I thought they were very clear and concise with us, and I'm still trying to figure this Hawkeye deal out. That hasn't popped up yet.
So
through any of the preseasons or this one, and so nobody can quite tell us exactly what it's going to look like or be like. So I'm waiting for that one, but I thought everything else went pretty smooth.
Yeah, I think it's confusing for fans too, Coach Dan Campbell, to be honest with you, because you're hearing it a lot, like Hawkeye this, Hawkeye that. If anybody is old enough to remember MASH, like that's the sort of thing that you're hearing of, or you're an Iowa fan. I don't know what that is, or what is able to be rectified or viewed through what, like the folks in New York chiming in, like it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. I know this. They always say, hey, well, if you don't see anything and they're back on the ball, you better use your challenge flag, your opponent. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, thank you, appreciate that.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out as we go here.
Right. And then just one thing that one of your predecessors in Detroit, Mariucci, who I work with, he always had a card in his pocket about the first names of all the officials, and he would know all their first names to make it seem like he was their friend. He used to do that a lot. I don't know if you've got that one for you. Like
any advantage you can possibly get, even if it's just minute. Maybe that's the difference.
Seriously,
right?
hey, Tom, the problem is you got to know, because one time he kept screaming, Tom, Tom, and he had the wrong guy. It was really like Bob, and he was trying to get the guys. The NFL Films caught him screaming, Tom, Tom, and he looks down at the sheet, and he goes, oh, Gene. And then the guy actually turned around, and then he acted like he was his friend. It's all good. Like, just whatever you can do. Little things. You know what I mean?
And you know, the whole time Gene heard Tom. You know that he was yelling Tom at him. He's like, I'm not looking at him. Get this guy.
And then all of a sudden, it's holding on his team, and it can devolve. It can. Hey,
it worked against him.
I know. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.